And I just wanted to say to you, on behalf of the judges, you are actually the winner of the VS Pritchett Prize 2020.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Wow. Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Oh, wow. That's great. Thank you.
Me and the judges had such a lively discussion about your short story because, I mean, I've read it about 5 times now.
Yeah.
And we were just kind of, because it was so unsettling, and reading it, it was kind of like, is this what is really happening? Or am I just kind of like, so you've done it so well that we were all discussing like what is actually happening here, because we almost didn't want to believe what was actually happening was happening. And obviously I don't want to give away too much because obviously we hope that everyone will go and read it. But
yeah,
when you were writing it yourself, did you find it unsettling at all to put all this down?
I mean, yes, and I think what I wanted to do, because I had several, I suppose again there are different sources, I suppose, that kind of feed a story, and and what I suppose I had in my mind somewhere, I had something I'd read in the paper about a woman's. God, this sounds really kind of maudlin now, but a woman's body had been found not that far from where I live in London, and the report didn't say very much. It just said her age, and that they were kind of investigating, and then you don't hear any more about it. So I was quite disturbed by the notion of a woman and what had happened to her, and what that was about. We just know her age, and then there was a scene in that I saw actually in Valencia is the city that I was in, where a mother and it looked like a mother and a grandmother were. So I was very much witnessing this from the outside. But there was a little boy, not a baby, but quite small, maybe 18 months. And the mother was obviously very angry with him, and sort of, had had enough, and just left him sitting on the pavement. And the grandmother didn't. It was quite obvious the grandmother didn't know what to do, but she was keeping an eye on the boy. And I was sort of thinking, what has happened here? What's gone on, and what's going to happen? And I felt quite anxious about this child, and I thought he was okay, because I thought the grandmother is not going to leave him there. But I suppose I was thinking, what circumstances would lead you to put a very small child, possibly a baby, down on just leave them like this? That clearly this mother was very upset. So I suppose and then I just sort of, I suppose, also had this idea of, sometimes you see babies that look really, really cute. I mean, babies are, generally speaking, very sort of, attractive, beautiful babies, and just that whole thing about the impulse to pick one up.
Yeah.
And I suppose there was something about the character of this woman that I thought she's clearly quite disturbed, but it's not. I wanted to let the reader in and make up their own mind as to whether there was a baby or there wasn't a baby, or certainly in the woman's mind there's a baby.
Yeah.
That was sort of yeah. And I think when I workshopped the story with the sort of writers that I sort of meet with on a regular basis, and I suppose there was also something about how disturbed people felt by the notion that in a way, I think somebody said you wouldn't really care about the woman, but you do care about this baby, and is it a baby or not? So I guess that was sort of around as well, and that the woman's concerns are really quite mundane.
Yes.
She's not behaving as if there really is a baby, and yet she's talking about a baby. So I suppose I was quite curious about how, about that. The tram was crowded, surprisingly so. No seats, not even for a woman with a baby. I squeezed the baby tight to my chest. It was so peaceful, not a peep. I'd wrapped it in one of the polyester scarves I'd bought to hang across the bare windows of our rental apartment. I don't like people looking in. Roberto's face was pinched in disapproval, but he didn't know what I did when he was out. Roberto was right about some things, but he was wrong about me and motherhood. It suited me to death. Roberto absolutely should have listened, but he was so insistent about saving the planet, going on and on about too many mouths to feed and carbon footprints. In the end, I stopped bringing it up, decided to do it my own way. The scarf worked well as a baby sling, and I made sure all its soft as a petal skin was covered. Sleepy it was by then, slow, blinking, dazed eyes. It hadn't come with a pram or a pushchair, but weighed no more than the 5-kilo dumbbells I'd been using to build up her arm strength. Roberto was never a big man, but he was solid. I knew he'd be no feather to shift when the time came.